Hi, what's going on out there? This is Wayne with Tri-County Locksmith, and today we're going to be doing some more testing on the ASSA high security Stanley padlock that we make. Basically, we take the standard stock Stanley 24/7 padlock. This thing you can find stock without the high security core online for anywhere from $30 to $50. We take it, pull out the pickable core and replace it with a high security non-pickable core, basically a ASSA Twin Combi Twin 6000 that has extra drill protection. So the lock already has drill protection here. It has a spinning plate for drill protection. It also has drill protection in the pins as well, so even if you try and use a small drill bit and go in between the drill anti-drill plate, you're still going to get deflected off both the sidebar and the pins. So neither one of those techniques is going to work very well. You know, we've completely destroyed our 36-inch HK Porter bolt cutters. You can see we've tried to cut this many times. Every time it just completely destroys the jaws of it. You know, we've destroyed the jaws of these trying to cut the chain. So we know the chain cannot be cut. It just really wreaks havoc on pretty much everything. So basically the way this lock really works is because we have these 12mm links of chain, both of these locked in this together is going to create almost no room to get bolt cutters in, and then we're going to have the shackle shroud for protection. So basically I'm just going to kind of stuff this in here, and we'll see if our brand new, you can see brand spanking new 42-inch bolt cutters with an additional ratchet strap that allows for maximum torque. So it's not going to matter whether it's a 300-pound man, a 400-pound man, or a 100-pound person operating these. It's going to go ahead and provide the same amount of pressure to both. So let's go ahead and chalk our lock up in here. We'll try and get it in there any way we can. And I want to cut the excess off this so it doesn't fill up quite so fast. Apparently I need to sharpen my pocket knife too. Take too much off. I can't put any more pressure on this, literally. This is as fixed as it can be. I mean, you really can't put any more pressure than that on there. A man would never be able to exert this kind of force on this. So, go ahead and release it. Let's see if we did any damage. We've got a little booger bite right there and a little dig right there, but it is still completely intact. You know, you can find a tip, but because of the way this is set up, you're only going to get that tiny little bit in there. you can see, because the chain actually blocks it from getting in there. So that's all the further we're going to be able to get on that, and that is not going to give us very much leverage. All right, and round 2. That's it. I mean, that's all we're getting. That's strung as tight as a banjo. And we are not cutting anything. So, I mean, once again, we've got a little bite on the shackle, but we have no break or compromise. We'll go ahead and we can put a link in here. And we'll test the chain out with these bigger bolt cutters. I'm afraid that's it. So, applying way more tension. I mean, just look at this thing. It's just as tight as you're going to get it. And we still have no compromise, no breakage of the locking system or the chain. Once again, there's a bite mark, but you can't even hardly tell, really. I mean, it's just crazy how tough this stuff is. And then let's come back here and let's look at what it did to the bolt cutter jaws. You can see that it just completely destroys them. We'll go one step further. We'll try it with the hydraulic bolt cutters too. And I'll put brand new cutters in here. As you can see, well, I'll load them up and then come back. Alrighty, so we got our brand new jaws loaded up in our cutter here, and we'll go ahead and tighten that up and try and cut this thing. See where I can get it to fit. Let's see. I can try right here. You can see how the chain, even in the way, prevents me from getting a good bite on this. And already, we're just trashing our bolt cutters. You can see it's harder than the steel. It just completely breaks them. So there you go, guys. There's your hydraulic bolt cutters. They still don't work. It just destroys the jaws and it's still here. You know, the chain's the same way. I'll put this on for the chain. Let's see if I can beat this back here. How did I do that before? Okay, I'll grab this on the chain. And again, you can just hear it breaking off. Put the helmet down. See? Every time, it just continues to break. Come on, give it back. Come on, give it back. The jaws of the bolt cutters. You can see where it's broke even more now. So I mean, we've got the biggest set of bolt cutters that we can really have access to. We've got hydraulic bolt cutters. You know, we've tried it in here. I'll try and bring that video into here too. We can try and use this on again, I don't think we're going to have go. I'm going to put something over this because I don't want anything to break and fly away. So this is the same result we got with the chain, to where we're just pumping, but every time we pump this, it's just fluid going back, bypassing the jack. It's actually not going any further. It's simply destroying the bolt cutters. It's breaking that hardened jaw. You can see where the weld is starting to break in there. You can see I can do this, but we're not gaining anything by doing so. The fluid is just bypassing into itself. You can hear it. All right. So, yes, that did the most damage. And look, it takes this gigantic, you know, 50, 75 pound machine. And we do finally have a little bit of cracking right here, but it still does not cut the shackle. So, you know, I don't know what more we can say for this stuff. We'll just go ahead and put a link of chain in there. I think we've already done this one, but we'll go ahead and do it again just to show you exactly what we're talking about here. Let's see, where am I going to put this? Nothing. I can hear the fluid starting to bypass again, and we're getting nothing. hear it. Bypass it over and over and over again. So we're not going to get any further than that. You know, that's the power of this particular setup. I mean, if we put that in there, you're just going to be pushing against the chain. You know, it's still not going to help. See? It just slips right out. So, bolt cutters, we've tried every kind and size, different brands, from the best made $200 ones, the largest made, you know, industrial ones, hydraulic. Let's just call it, folks. This chain and padlock cannot be cut with bolt cutters. There's only one way that you're getting into this chain, and that's with an angle grinder. You know, we'll show you a couple more things too, as far as the anti-drill features. You know, we'll put this lock right here, and I'll see if we can get the camera to pick it up. And this is a TTP cobalt bit. These are the hardest steel cobalt bits you can buy, basically. And you know, I've had people ask, well, can you drill this? No, we can't drill through the pin to release this. It's just too hard and round. So we can't drill through that. This is what this is going to do. This is working exactly how it's supposed to. It's going to mess up your drill points to the point where if your bit does catch, it's just going to try and break it. Even if we pull that out, still that put it in such a bind that it pulled out the drill plate here. And even if we do that, where we need to drill this lock out, we're still not going anywhere. You know why? Because there's an inserted pin in here that's hardened steel that will not come out. It's going to deflect this drill bit. Not going anywhere. And to show that this drill bit is a good drill bit, let's see here. Got a chunk of steel right here. Same drill bit. Drills just fine all day long. Nice big coily spools. So drill attacks are not going to work. The lock has its own defenses against the drill attack with that plate, and even if that plate is completely bound and compromised, the lock cylinder itself, this is where the high security ASSA upgrade comes in handy. Because if that cylinder did not have that after the spinny plate came out, then you would be able to drill the cylinder, but not with the ASSA high security setup. There's inserted pins in there that are hardened steel that are designed to continue to protect the lock even when the exterior protection is gone, and we just demonstrated that. We use the hardest cobalt bits. These are Rockwell hardness scale 66 on the Rockwell hardness scale. They're the hardest, best cobalt bits I've ever used, and I use them to drill all kinds of steel, hardened steel, stainless steel, and they still will not drill through that lock. So the only way you're getting in, ladies and gentlemen, is the angle grinder. And mind you, after all this attacking, I'm betting, look at that, it's still going to work. It's still going to protect your stuff. Your stuff will still be there in the morning. And it's still even working, even after all this attacking. The only way we're getting in this lock is with our angle grinder. And a lot of people complained about how we did that last time, so I'm going to leave it loose, just like this. And we'll cut the chain, and then we'll cut the padlock itself. See how long that takes? That's how long it's going to take to do this. Now I'm going to lock it back up. And I'll show you how long it takes to cut the lock. Come on. Still works, by the way, even after all this other nonsense. You know, we can take this thing with a hammer. Oh, I don't know if I have a bigger hammer. Somewhere. We're not satisfied that this is still one of the most durable locks that you can buy. I can't think of anything else that's going to put up with this kind of pressure and still open up. And we'll tie this up again. On with gloves on. Okay, there we go. And So worst case scenario, let's say somehow, someday, somebody finds a pair of bolt cutters that can cut this. Even if you cut it here, you still can't get the stuff out. So you've seen how much work it takes to get this open to this point. And you've seen how much work it takes to try and use force with bolt cutters or shearing action. You know, maybe they make a 57-inch bolt cutters. Even if you cut that, which is still going to be difficult, you still can't get it off. You've used your only point here where you could actually even get anything to cut in there. Even with the angle grinder, this is going to force you to make another cut. We cannot simply twist that out of there. It's still protected. And if I put the key in here, it would still work. So we're going to have to cut one more side. My goodness, people, that's what it's going to take to get this open. So, you know, choose your security wisely, and even after all that, the cylinder still actually works. So, check it out. Check out TriCountyLocksmithService.com. Find the picture of the ASSA lock, click on it, pay for your security. You get what you pay for. You can buy master locks all day long at the hardware store. But this is what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get with a custom-made, professionally designed product. It's going to address the most common and even uncommon types of attack. Bolt cutters, drilling, hacksaw. We've done hacksaw before. It just completely dulls the blade. The steel in the chain and the lock is harder than the steel in the sawzall blade. Hacksaw, any of that kind of stuff. Bolt cutters, hydraulic bolt cutters, industrial gigantic bolt cutters that are at hardware stores. It survives it all. The only thing it's not going to survive is an angle grinder. But there isn't a product on the market today that can survive the angle grinder or a cutting torch. Those are the two things that are the end all. But this makes a lot of noise. You saw how long it took to cut this. Most of these, only this one has actually enough juice to make those cuts. In fact, your lighter gauge ones, you know, some of the DeWalt ones and stuff like that, they won't even make the cut. The battery will die before they get the cut made. So you've seen it all here. I can't do any more testing than this. I mean, what else is there? So for more information, check out the website below. Pick one up today. Secure your bike. Anything you have, motorcycle, moped, generators, trailers. You know, this is going to work on just about everything. Thanks for watching. Hey, what's going on out there, guys? I just want to share an update from the Stanley ASSA high security hybrid lock cylinder that we put here. This lock was actually really sent out to a customer, and it was sent out to a customer, and it actually had within a week or two actually physically had an attack done on it, and the customer contacted me, and I thought it was pretty cool that this thing was actually out in the field by real people in a real you know, security situation. And this is what happened. You can see the bite marks on here, but you can see several different ones. But they didn't get the stuff. They didn't get, I think it was a bike or a scooter or something he locked up with this. They didn't get it. They couldn't pick it. They couldn't, you know, they didn't do anything to the lock cylinder. You know you can't pick these. Or, I mean, you know, yes, people that have had the lock cylinder, an ASSA lock cylinder for months and months and months and picked and worked on it and was able to take it apart and pick it slowly one by one and put it back together and add pins to it and had that kind of access to it, yes, you will see maybe 1 or 2 of those videos out there. But in a real life situation, nobody's picking these things. It's just not going to happen. And the Peweg chain saved this. Now the reason this lock system works is because the 2 links take up so much room. It's the maximum that would be allowed to fit in there. And we've already gone over the security chain. We know that it's harder than the jaws of the bolt cutters, and it usually damages the bolt cutters when you try and cut this Peweg hardened security chain. So really, the only other attack points on this would be the lock itself. It's got the anti-drill feature, the anti-drill plate here. ASSA has stainless steel inserts and stainless steel pins, so you're not going to be drilling this thing out. And the bolt cutter resistance. You know, this is living proof right here. Yes, if you get a super gigantic pair of you know, bolt cutters or hydraulic ones or battery powered ones or something like that, yeah, you could probably maybe get this. But the reason it really works is because the way the chain is actually takes up all the space in the void. Okay, so if we have, where are my smaller bolt cutters? I just had them. Here they are. We got some little bolt cutters like these right here. Okay, we put these in here so the smaller jaws will fit down in there to where you can get a bite on it, but there's not very much room. There's a little bit, but not very much at all. These will go down in there, but they are obviously not going to cut this. I mean, no freaking way. Not even close. There's just not, they're not big enough. I mean, I can put all the leverage we want on that. We're not kidding. It didn't even make a dent in it. Okay, so that's a 14-inch pair. Here's a little bit bigger pair right here. And these go on here as well. But once again, we're not letting it have very much room to work. And the shackle shroud is protecting the rest of the shackle down here. So the only 3 places that we can try and get on this is here, or right smack dab in the middle, but it's just not letting it go in there very well. So if we can't get if we can't get a bite on it to get some leverage on it, we're not gonna be able to cut it, you know. And this is prime situation where I can actually use the ground to stand on this thing and try and cut it. And you know, if it's on a bike or it's up or it's on a gate, you're not gonna be able to get that leverage. You're gonna be trying to create that leverage grabbing it this way, and that's just not happening. You can see again, I mean, we're not doing anything to this. And then as we go up in bolt cutter size, well, now the jaws are much thicker, you know, so it's actually, you're going to get even less on there. So yes, these are bigger bolt cutters, but you know, you're just not really going to get a bite on it. Let's see here. Move around a little bit more here. I mean, there's just not very much room for this thing to work. So even with these out here, I mean, you know, we can still stand on this stuff all day long. And this is prime, you know, conditions where I can stand on this. You're not going to have that if it's up above or bolted to something to where, you know, it's attached to a gate where you're not going to be able to get that kind of leverage and jump up and down on it. I can't get it in the back here and really crank down on it. Now, yes, if you take the chain off of this and you take this block and you put it in a big giant set of heavy-duty bolt cutters, Yeah, you can cut the shackle. You can work at it and cut the shackle. But because of the way that it's set up, with the designed with the security chain that fills up the void, you just don't have any space to work. And the shackle shroud protects the rest of it. So, you know, I mean, we can try cutting the shroud too. I mean, that's the best bite you're gonna get on this thing right here. And even that's not really doing anything, you know? So, that's what makes this work as a package. So for more information, check out the website below. We do make these. We do the standard ASSA, or I mean the standard security lock right here is a pretty good lock by itself, but it is susceptible to some picking attacks, or somebody could remake your key at the hardware store. That key is copyable. And then we have the ASSA high security cylinder as well. The ASSA high security cylinder, you can't copy this key. You're not going to be picking the lock. You're not going to be doing anything like that, and nobody can copy your key. So for more information, check out the website below. Hey, what's going on there? This is Wayne, and we're looking at the Peweg. This is the Peweg chain review. Peweg hardened square link chain. This chain was designed for heavy equipment tire chains. So this was traction chain, and the chain used to wear out quickly and then break. So they came up with an ultra hard chain at a Rockwell hardness scale rating of 63 on this stuff, and it is completely awesome. I have not found a harder chain yet on the market at all. This stuff is absolutely scary to cut. It's chipped my bolt cutters both times I've attempted to cut it. You can see here, if we look at that this chipping and flattening, it's actually, the chain is harder than the steel in the bolt cutters. The bolt cutters are only probably about a 62 Rockwell hardness scale rating. And when you put a lot of weighted force on that fine edge, it cracks and it chips and it goes flying. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to try and cut this stuff, really, because it's dangerous. You're going to catch shrapnel, and you're not going to do anything anyways. I jumped up and down on this stuff, and you can't even tell a mark where that was going on. So this is hands down the hardest chain that I've seen or done any testing on. We've frozen it with the canned air right here and hit it with a big hammer to no avail. It's not so hard that it becomes brittle. It's got alloy in it, so it's got some other alloys that help everything bond together and hold together and stay together. So that did not work on it as an attack method. The Sawzall right here just flattens the teeth, completely flat, not even a scratch on there, barely even takes the outer coating paint off of there. Angle grinder, nothing gets by the angle grinder. So but it did, compared to a normal piece of hardware store chain, this takes about 10 to 15 seconds to cut through with an angle grinder like so to make 2 cuts. This stuff took 2 minutes. Takes 1 minute to make 1 cut and another minute to make another cut in prime ideal conditions where I can lock it in a vise and go ahead and cut on this stuff. That's the other thing, all this testing's done in ideal conditions to benefit me to defeat the chain. Concrete floor, giant bolt cutters that are, you know, super sharp and maintained, high quality stuff. I can put it in the bolt cutter, or I can put it in the vise and cut on it with the Sawzall. And the grinder and everything else. If you're out in the field and this is loose and flimsy, like so, and you're trying to cut on it with your angle grinder, it's a very thin, fine blade, can become stuck and caught. And if it pinches, it'll disintegrate, it'll blow apart, and it'll send shrapnel towards your face and everywhere else. If the chain link catches, it can get caught in there. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't have it in the ideal conditions. I'm pretty sure we did this before, but I don't think I got it on camera. So we'll just go ahead and try this. And ahead and show here that the teeth are pretty much worn off of there now. So that means that this is much harder than the steel that came out of, and you can see it didn't even do anything. Maybe a little scratch on the paint there. So that's definitely not going to work. Angle grinder did, but look at how long it took, and look at how loud and noisy it was. You know, you're never going to stop anything completely, but that this change is just going to cause the most amount of difficulty for a burglar to take your stuff. If you're going to invest in a good lock, invest in a good chain too.
So, this is Wayne with Tri-County Locksmith Service. For more information, go to www.tricountylocksmithservice.com. Thanks.
Alrighty guys, this is the end of the video when you watch YouTube here. A couple ways you can really help me out is to go ahead and make sure that you subscribe. Click on the subscribe button right there, and then come down here and share this video with Facebook and Twitter and any of the other social media facets that you are a part of. This helps other people find my videos. It helps my videos gain count and gain the countability and views, and that in turn helps me provide more videos to you with good information about security and the latest in technology today. So Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus are about the biggest ones. Those are the ones that help out the most, and just posting those on there it spreads that information to your friends, family, anybody else that would be interested in watching one of these videos, and it helps me get the countage I need to be able to continue to make videos and provide the information to you. So this helps out a lot. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.